Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing a fun exercise that anyone can do, from beginner to pro, to help you loosen up, play and experiment. It's also a great option for those moments when you don't know what to paint. I think we've all been there. The exercise is simple. Take a reference, a photo or an artwork you like, and create as many different versions of it as you can. Go wild. Try different media, play with abstraction, explore shapes and line work, dust off neglected materials, or dive into ones you've been too scared to try. While you watch me make a few versions of my chosen reference, I'll explain the exercise and the inspiration behind it more deeply. And later I'll reveal all the versions I created, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you have any questions about art materials I used, post them in the comments below. For my reference, I chose Gustav Klimt's Pallas Athena from 1898. If you like, you can use the same image and paint or draw along with me. Before diving in, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been watching, liking and commenting. I only started this channel less than 3 months ago and recently hit my first milestone of 100 subscribers. It might be tiny, but it means the world to me. Hearing from you in the comments, sometimes from the other side of the world, and knowing that my little videos inspire or help you is incredible. And making the commitment to do one video a week has really pushed me to paint more and be more deliberate about my art journey. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of it. Now, back to the exercise. The inspiration comes from illustrator Adolfo Serra in his Domestika class, Illustration Techniques to Unlock Your Creativity. This was one of the first art classes I took when I first started out on my art journey about 5 years ago. He demonstrated this exercise using a Klimt reference as well. Now, I looked at a couple of books trying to find the perfect reference for me to do this challenge, but in the end I selected one by Gustav Klimt too. I thought, why force myself to use another artist if this is my favorite image for this? I happen to have this mega book of the complete paintings by Gustav Klimt. As with many famous dead painters, I have some issues with this artist, in particular the almost constant objectification of the female body. But I still like a lot of his work. In the art world, he got criticized for making his paintings too pretty and ornamental, so they'd be more decorative than meaningful. But I don't fully agree with that. Anyway, I'll share more of my thoughts about problematic artists and how to deal with them in another future video. It's a topic I care about deeply, actually. When you choose your own reference, here are 3 things I recommend keeping in mind. 1. Not too complex. I avoided paintings that were too complex, such as busy urban scenes, because I didn't want to get bogged down in detail. My goal was to experiment with materials and techniques, not perfection. I tried to keep each version under an hour. 2. Not too simple. It might seem contradictory, but the goal is the right balance, of course. If the image is overly minimal, you might run out of ideas. Here are some paintings I considered, but finally rejected because they were too simple. Something with a balance of detail and open space works best, I think. 3. Choose a subject you're comfortable with. For me, one of those subjects is portraits. Since for me this exercise is about experimenting with different techniques, styles and art materials, I didn't want the additional burden of painting a subject that I find really difficult and that I don't have much practice with. But for me, being comfortable with a reference also includes an ethical aspect, surrounding the content of the painting and the life of the artist. I purposefully selected a painting by Klimt that depicts the ancient Greek goddess Athena, daughter of Zeus, who is shown as a strong woman, fully clothed, confidently looking down on us. Athena is the goddess of wisdom, warfare, and art or handicraft, considered as strong, smart, and dignified. I knew that if I select one of his other paintings where a woman is half naked in some kind of subservient position, my thoughts would keep circling back to problematic painters while working on this exercise. So this was also something I liked about this painting. Those are my criteria, but really just pick something you won't get tired of. You can also adapt this exercise to your own art goals. If you're working on values, for instance, try a black and white reference and explore different color palettes. Or if your goal is to paint more landscapes, use this as a way to practice different styles and approaches. Another artist I admire, the contemporary illustrator Victoria Semikina, also makes multiple versions of her illustrations, not as an exercise, but as part of her professional process. On her Patreon, she shows how she works on multiple versions of her paintings to change some elements she wants to try out. It reminds me that even pros don't always nail it on the first try. It's about putting in the work and exploring options. Interestingly, Klimt himself was known for creating many versions and working endlessly on his paintings. He often missed deadlines for commissions and even exhibited works in different states over the years because he kept adding and changing things in his paintings, even after he already exhibited them. So you can treat this as a playful exercise, the way I'm doing today, or as a practice to return to throughout your art journey. If you're unsure about a choice in your painting, or if new ideas come to you mid-process, just make another version. Alright, let's take a look at all 15 versions I made for this challenge. Remember, the goal wasn't perfection, it was to loosen up, experiment, and see what happens. I'll reveal to you what I think are the good, the bad, and the ugly. First off, here are my favorites. The good. There's some elements in each of these paintings that I really like. This one in black ink is about line work. It's playful and I like the hair and the armor. This one is giving Batman. I like how loose and sketchy this is. In this one, I think it's a combination of really loose, flowy, painterly elements and the sharp graphic lines. Here, I just like the abstraction and the effect of metallic against the black. This one is probably the closest to the original, more a study, and I played with some erasing techniques for the armor. Here I just like the facial expression, how fierce and cool she looks. Even the little figurine has attitude. Here I love the face. It's very minimal, but I like the combination of paint and the sharp black lines. And this one is my favorite of them all. You see, I took some artistic liberties with the size of the head, the shape of the helmet, and giving her a halo. Again, I like the combination of the dark blue lines against the smeared gelatos. I guess there's a pattern here emerging in my preferences. Here are the bad. On this first one, I think I went too crazy with the splatters. This one, as opposed to the Batman one, it was too fast, I think. And the helmet feels oppressive. And in this one, I just really hate seeing the texture of the paper with the pencil. Ugh. Had I done this on smooth paper, it might be with the good, because I like the neon ink I first put down and the background combo of soft pastel and pencil scribbles. Now on to the ugly, the ones I didn't even want to show you. But I still had to, because as I said, this exercise is about feeling free to play, experiment, and fail. I believe that if you don't allow yourself to fail, you're not really learning. I see a pattern where all of them have a strange head shape, and the eyes have these weird dark lines around them. I'm not going to discuss them all. Suffice it to say that I enjoyed the Sgraffito technique, where you use 2 layers of oil pastels and then you scratch off the second layer. The idea came initially for the armor, but I actually prefer it in the background. It's giving cave painting vibes somehow. I do like this part. One thing I struggled with a bit in this exercise was the armor. I found it hard to come up with new ways to depict the armor. I made a little collage here where you can see, and here you can see some different interpretations of the face. I definitely had fun with it, but given that she was wearing this helmet, there wasn't that many ways I felt like I could play with the face. I still found a few different varieties. And that's it. All 15 versions of my Klimt Palace Athena experiment. Which version is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I would be really curious to know. This really reminded me that there's no single right way to approach art. Even when a piece doesn't turn out how you hoped, it still teaches you something and sparks new ideas. It also reminded me that you shouldn't expect a masterpiece on the first try. Sometimes it will take trial and error to find the version you like best. This is valid even for professional illustrators and famous artists. Before I go, I wanted to share a little teaser. I'm kicking off a month-long painting challenge in September. In my next video, I'll start by curating a new watercolor palette with some favorite and some new paints. And then I'll be using that palette and some other materials to paint every day. Of course, you're invited to join me. But if you're too busy, you can also follow the challenge here on YouTube or over on Instagram, where I'll share what I paint every day. If you decide to try today's exercise yourself, let me know in the comments what reference you choose. And if you share them on Instagram, make sure to tag me. I'd love to see what you create. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the watercolor series or any of my other videos, which I post every Wednesday. Thanks again for watching and for supporting this channel. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, happy painting and take care.